My project deals with food and the processes of how we can learn from what we use when we make choices about food. When we have ideas about, I'll eat this food or I'll eat that food, and this is what will direct me to do so, if we can be aware of that, we can be conscious of that, then that gets me very excited. It brings up all kinds of interesting things when we talk to other people about food, when we ask questions about how people make decisions about their food. And everyone has probably a million different things, right, that they bring to the table when it comes to food, pun intended, maybe. And so how would I as an artist then be able to address all of those? That was the biggest challenge I think I faced with the piece. Mapping is the process, is how I see it, of making those kinds of similarities and differences. I have tried to consider all of the kinds of ways that these videos that I create might interact when people map them, so to speak, on this order sheet, right? They can order up to 4 different items at a time. And how will these various items interact with each other? If I was to make a kind of map of how they would go, where would it lead? What would be really incongruent if I had one next to the other? Or is there no way that I could make them incongruent, but then how could I make connections? What would be the pattern that connects? My committee, who are the most wonderful committee I think I could have possibly had at UCSC, but I have this incredible committee, and they've said to me continuously throughout the process, they've said, how will you address the expectations of your audience? What are your outcomes for your audience? And that question has continually vexed me because of the infinite possibilities that people will bring to the project, the infinite ideas that they have about food and how they choose it. We have a kind of rules process, obviously, that governs the choices and the playback mechanism, and that's done in Max MSP. And Ableton Live, because I love music still, and I had to incorporate Ableton somehow. It's great that it happens in this room 317, where they have an incredible 7.1 surround system, and I get to take advantage of all of those speakers. Max with Peter Elsey was the bread and butter of my experience at DANM.
Because your liver is so red.
I had to, I thought, at least take a kind of slice, right, of my own life experience and bring that to the project so that they could have some frame of reference. In other words, so that things wouldn't be completely wild and all out and all over the place. And suddenly there would be no pattern that connects anything on the map. So the pattern that connects most of these things is this slice of my own life, middle class, white masculinity, and the foods that are associated with that kind of subject position. I think it's not too hard to imagine what those are. We look at McDonald's and the namesake of my work, Jakk in the Boxx, California. How do we know epistemology? What are the things that go into this mental process that says, I know how to select a food for myself?